Hello guys, I'm Tom, and today we're going to explore who Constantine is. Among the most complex and fascinating protagonists to emerge in cinema, comics, and modern horror, we find John Constantine, an occult detective who has become an iconic figure in paranormal storytelling. His story unfolds across the legendary Hellblazer series, published by Vertigo, DC Comics' most prestigious imprint, focused on adult audiences and dark narratives. Constantine, however, did not remain confined to the printed page. He made the leap to the big screen in 2005 with the film Constantine, where Keanu Reeves masterfully portrays a specialist in supernatural phenomena, a man whose life is marked by a constant balance between heroism and self-destruction. The allure of John Constantine lies in his moral ambiguity. He is not a hero in the traditional sense. His brave and life-saving acts stem both from a sense of duty and from personal, sometimes selfish, motivations. His life is a constant battlefield against demons, specters, and hidden forces, and his success does not depend solely on his powers, but on his sharp intellect, deep knowledge of magic and the supernatural, and his infallible instinct for detecting and confronting the unknown. Every encounter forces him to navigate spiritual traps and dangers that defy logic, making his victories triumphs of cunning and strategy rather than brute strength. Constantine's magnetism is not limited to his abilities. It also emanates from the richness of his personal history and the complexity of his relationships with both human and supernatural beings. Angels, demons, hybrids, and all kinds of underworld creatures converge in his world, giving him a unique dimension that has earned him a cult following within horror and mystery comics. His popularity is not only a product of his powers, but also of how his character reflects vulnerability, loss, and inner struggle, universal themes that resonate deeply with audiences. In this video, we will delve into John Constantine's origins, exploring what the Hellblazer comics reveal, and comparing it to the cinematic version. We will analyze in detail the differences between both portrayals, breaking down his personality, abilities, strengths, and vulnerabilities, and showing how each medium adds unique nuances to a character who is much more than just a magician or paranormal detective. John Constantine's life is extensive and multifaceted. In the comics, he is presented as a detective of the occult and paranormal, with powers that bring him close to the figure of a British magician residing in Liverpool. His defining traits, constant cigarette smoking, sharp sarcasm, irony, and cynical attitude, emerge from deep trauma and painful experiences that have shaped his existence. He becomes an anti-hero whose moral compass does not always point toward the greater good, but rather toward a personal code of justice and survival. His intelligence, cunning, and instincts make him one of the most respected and feared magicians in the occult world, and his direct connection to the spiritual realm allows him to navigate territories where others could not survive. Every loss, every exposure to darkness, reinforces his cold, sarcastic, and calculating personality, consolidating his grim worldview and understanding of human nature. In the movie, Constantine is portrayed as an American, born on May 10, 1953, in Los Angeles, California. From childhood, his sensitivity to the paranormal manifested in visions of entities invisible to ordinary eyes, angels projecting light and guidance, demons instilling terror, and hybrid beings defying all logic. These experiences plunged him into profound emotional isolation, causing anxiety and fear, and shaping a solitary character. During his adolescence, to cope with these visions and the burden of his gift, he develops a tobacco addiction, smoking up to 2 packs a day, a habit that would later influence his fate. As an adult, after years of being haunted by supernatural presences, Constantine reaches a critical point and attempts to take his own life. During the attempt, his soul is dragged to hell, and the experience, though brief, leaves an indelible mark. Every second feels like an eternity of torment and despair. After being revived by paramedics, Constantine emerges with renewed purpose to become a warrior of God, using his skills, knowledge, and visions to fight demons and protect those who cannot defend themselves. Between exorcisms, supernatural confrontations, and journeys to the edge of reality, Constantine seeks redemption, attempting to balance his past mistakes and reach, in some way, the salvation he feels he deserves. The film's plot begins when Father Gabriel requests his help with a case of demonic possession affecting a young girl. Constantine discovers that a demon plans to cross into the physical world, using the girl as a portal, breaking divine laws. To better understand the situation, he seeks advice from the Archangel Gabriel, who reveals a cruel truth. He cannot cure his lung cancer, a direct consequence of his smoking habit, and that his heroic acts, although significant, were partially driven by personal interests, with no guarantee of celestial redemption. Throughout the story, Constantine faces multiple terrifying entities, including a demon composed of insects and crustaceans, a manifestation of pure supernatural corruption. After defeating it, he turns to Papa Midnight, a witch and shaman ally who maintains a safe haven where demons, hybrids, and angels coexist without conflict. Together, they begin investigating the increase in demonic activity threatening Earth and the stability of the human world. Among his closest allies are Balthazar, a hybrid who acts as an informant and warning regarding Lucifer's plans; Vivian, an expert in supernatural artifacts and practical magic; Father Gabriel, with clairvoyance and direct contact with celestial entities; and Chaz, his apprentice and trusted companion. The team becomes embroiled in investigating the suicide of Isabel Dodson, sister of Detective Angela Dodson, who suspects dark forces manipulated the tragedy. Initially reluctant, Constantine decides to protect Angela when demons attempt to attack her, explaining that the true battle between good and evil is fought within human souls, and that celestial beings can only influence the physical world indirectly. Finally, they discover that Mammon, Lucifer's son, plans to possess someone with psychic abilities to establish a demonic kingdom on Earth. This plan requires the blood of Christ and the tip of the spear that pierced Jesus. With the help of Papa Midnight and a device that allows astral travel, Constantine tracks Mammon to the psychiatric hospital where Isabel had been confined, discovering that Angela is the target, the portal the demon intends to use to manifest physically in the human world. With the backing of Papa Midnight, one of the most cunning and enigmatic sorcerers of the underworld, John Constantine and his young apprentice Chaz prepare to face the wave of demons threatening human existence. Every step they take is charged with tension, knowing that any mistake could cost countless lives. Their path inevitably leads them to the psychiatric hospital, a place that seems peaceful from the outside but conceals dark secrets and invisible forces lurking in every corner. Their goal is not only to save Angela Dodson, whose life hangs by a thread, but also to thwart the sinister plans of the underworld, aimed at expanding the dominion of Mammon, Lucifer's son, into the physical world. Chaz, though still young, proves to be an invaluable ally. Armed with his knowledge of blessings and purification rituals, he performs prayers over the possessed, freeing their bodies and minds from demonic control. The cooperation between master and apprentice is key. While Chaz keeps trapped souls at bay, Constantine employs his infallible cunning and powerful supernatural arsenal. Among his deadliest tools is the Holy Shotgun, a sacred firearm capable of eradicating infernal entities with lethal precision. Every shot is an act of justice and survival, severing the ties of evil and thwarting rituals that could unleash an apocalypse. The battle reaches a critical point when an invisible, cunning, and lethal entity lunges at them, attacking mercilessly and claiming Chaz's life. The young apprentice falls, leaving Constantine with profound grief, but also a renewed determination. Using ancient prayers and the mystical symbols tattooed on his arms, he forces the presence to manifest, compelling it to reveal itself. At that moment, the angel Gabriel appears, radiating power and authority. With superhuman ease, he subdues John, showing that the entire prior confrontation had been part of his own master plan. Gabriel expresses his disdain for divine mercy, questioning God's tendency to forgive humanity. His intention is to unleash hell upon earth, eliminating all but the truly faithful, aiming to prove his worth to the Creator. After defeating Constantine, he prepares to continue his ritual unimpeded, convinced that his vision of justice is absolute. In a desperate and calculated act, Constantine slashes his wrists, a sacrifice meant to attract Lucifer's direct attention. When he finally confronts the devil, he faces a being whose noble and serene appearance conceals a cunning and manipulative mind. Lucifer's physical manifestation possesses the ability to stop time, a power that terrifies even the most seasoned occultists. However, Constantine's resourcefulness knows no bounds. He manages to distract him and redirect his attention to another room, allowing Mammon to be sent back to the underworld and thwarting his plans to dominate the physical world. In his final act of cunning, Constantine burns Gabriel's facilities, reducing the angel to a vulnerable human state, condemned to suffer in hell for his arrogance and betrayal. Lucifer, recognizing the wizard's courage and intelligence, offers him a favor as a reward. Constantine requests the release of Isabel Dodson's soul and her return to heaven, a request that is granted immediately. When demons attempt to drag him to the underworld, they find their powers ineffective. God has granted him redemption in recognition of his selfless act. Nevertheless, Lucifer, enraged and aware that John still poses a challenge, heals his wounds and removes his lung cancer, making it clear that his ascension to heaven will not be immediate, and that the devil will return at the right moment to settle scores. Some time later, Constantine delivers the Spear of Destiny to Angela, advising her to hide it and forget the horrors she witnessed. The film closes with the image of John continuing his battle against demonic forces, now driven by a genuine desire to protect humanity, not merely by survival or personal ambition. A thorough analysis of his character reveals John Constantine as a cynical, realistic man, deeply marked by the loss of loved ones and the constant threats of the supernatural world. His knowledge of the occult and the paranormal makes him an exceptional detective, exorcist, and strategist, but also a solitary and distrustful individual. His bond with Chaz is one of mutual respect and affection, while his interactions with figures like Father Gabriel and Papa Midnight are primarily strategic, manipulating situations to strengthen his position and ensure the effectiveness of his exorcisms and confrontations. Constantine's evolution is evident. Although his actions are initially driven by selfishness and the need for survival, his care for Angela, the protection of the innocent, and his confrontation with Balthazar demonstrate a path toward genuine heroism, where cunning, calculated coldness, and determination are complemented by a deep sense of responsibility and compassion. In appearance, Constantine is a middle-aged man who, despite his sober style, black suit, tie, trench coat, and dark hair, projects youth and energy. This image contrasts with his comic counterpart, who is blonde and older, wearing a brown suit and showing the wear of time and lived experiences. As a magician and occult specialist, John possesses an extraordinary range of abilities: true sight to detect invisible entities, the powerful holy shotgun to eradicate infernal forces, astral projection for investigating the supernatural, advanced exorcisms, the release of holy light through his lighter, selective telepathy, telekinesis, mind control, hand-to-hand combat, and an innate talent for manipulating situations and enemies even without directly using magic. However, despite his formidable arsenal, John remains human and vulnerable. His cancer, direct attacks from demons and fallen angels, as well as physical assaults from beings like Gabriel, represent real threats that can weaken him and endanger his life, constantly reminding him that even the most powerful must pay a price for challenging the supernatural.